Access! Flash! Okay, I just had to do that. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Absolutely Completely Random Podcast. Alright, so welcome to the Absolutely Completely Random Podcast. One podcast that I love to do here on YouTube. My name's Andrew Rhodes, and today is Friday, June 22nd, 2018. Yes, I know. Why are you recording on Friday again, you say? Well, normally it'd be because of a storm coming through. This time, however, it's because I have to work tomorrow morning. Unless, of course, I get a call that says I don't have to, but I doubt highly that's going to happen. So, I'm recording today because I'm probably going to be way too tired tomorrow to want to record the podcast come tomorrow night. So, what do I have in store for everybody this week? What fun topics are we going to talk about this time around? I'm going to be talking about a mother who's been collecting Shonen Jump for 7 years to honor her son who died in a quake. That's right. This is actually a very touching subject. I actually did read some of the article, but I didn't read the whole thing. A New York film critic has reservations about the children's movie The Incredibles 2 because his boner kept blocking the screen. Now, I'm going to discuss this with a small grain of dignity while I tiptoe through it because I kind of have to agree with him on a point, and that's the scary part of it. So don't worry, it's not going to be horrible or anything. Google's AI is going to be able to predict when you are going to die. That's just what I want Google to do. Tell me when I'm going to die, Google. A topic that I did a rant video on, Pop Team Epic, the anime absurdity, is coming to the Stoner Network. I mean Adult Swim. Sorry, that was a slip of the tongue there. I'm also going to be talking about a list of anime series that apparently people have been claiming, or at least I think it's a list. Hold on. Is it a list? Okay, no, it's not a list. Okay, I'm going to be discussing a topic that basically was what your gateway anime was. What anime got you into anime? Which is actually kind of cool. I'm also going to be discussing the sing-along version to Evangelion's theme song in an HD music video. Like you don't already sing along to anime openings. And Yu Yu Hakusho. Oh, yes. The anime's 55th episode is going to be getting audio commentary. That's just wonderful. All this and more, who knows? It all depends on how time goes. I mean, I only have X amount of time I can do this because I still have to go to sleep so I can get up tomorrow morning. But I digress. You know the song and dance by now. If you're interested in weird oddities, obscenities, weird stuff in general, check out my eBay page, ARHOADS-2012 on eBay. I have trading cards, I have weird stuff, oddities, knickknacks, anything you can get your hands on, I have. Something odd, something unusual, you want it for your room, you want it for your home, you just want it to hang somewhere when you have guests come over or look at that and go, where did you get that? Oh, I picked that up on eBay. I think it sets the room off just right. I might have it, you never know. I mean, come on. All you need is one person to ask a question. That's a conversation starter. So don't forget to check that out. It's ARHOADS-2012 on eBay. Please note, I am going to be working on getting some Magic the Gathering cards up on eBay. I have them set to put into binders. I just had to figure out what I all have and what their rarities are. 'Cause that's one game that I still don't understand. But just to let you know that they are coming. I do have a couple up now. At least I know I have one up now, but more are coming. So, yeah, they're not... I haven't forgotten about that. You can also follow me on Twitter at OtakuRhodes. It's at OTAKURHOADS. The O and the R for each starting word is capital. And you can also check me out on the Web Designer 18 Facebook page on Facebook. Links to both are on my channel's description page. Okay, so let's play the magic game of how was my week. The monologue, if you will. That's what Mom would call it. It's actually been what you would call a very mundane week. Besides the fact that it was kind of boring as hell, I finally got the Iron Man that I had got the reward for from the Marvel Insider that arrived this afternoon, so I'm happy about that. I now have a 2-star Iron Man from Infinity War. Now, if only the game would be so generous and give me the freaking 3-star that I have so badly wanted. Then we'll be in business. Even a 4-star Iron Man I will take. I'd like a 3-star or a 4-star. Actually, both. I would prefer both, actually. I don't really care. I mean, I have a Superior as a 3-star, but I'd like a regular one, too. Or even a one from Infinity War, too. That'd be nice. Give me all 3 of them. I can have Team Iron Man. At least a 4-star, then he can actually join my team. But, yeah, I was playing my games this week. Unbeknownst to me, I actually spent most of my day today after I got home from work playing Puzzles and Dragons, minus a little bit I did go into my Contest of Champions game. I did Puzzles and Dragons, and I just realized that I did my Digimon Links thing this morning, but I forgot to go back in and get the friendship boost, so I'll have to do that quick in the morning, I guess. But anyway, I spent most of the day trying to play Puzzles and Dragons, and I have to admit, this game is fun, and goddamn is it addicting. Because I'm trying to do the 4th level for the June quest, for the June dungeon, and I just can't beat the final boss because I think it's kind of a cheap ploy when the boss can auto-heal itself on the other turn, and literally basically replenishes all the health you just spent a good 2 turns dwindling down. That kind of pisses me off so much, actually. So there was that. Now, I finally got to the final boss for the first time ever today. It still pisses me off. But yeah, it does kind of suck. But anyway, there is that. That was kind of fun. What else did I really do this week? I didn't really do anything else this week. Went to the Dollar Tree yesterday. Picked up some stuff. Yeah, I really didn't do much of anything else this week. Wow, this is what you call a boring week. Oh, well, I did finish watching Street Hawk with my grandfather, and it ended stupid. I'm actually planning to do a review on that, because I want to record some review videos. I have a whole backlog of ones that I wanted to do that I never got around to doing, and it sort of upsets me that I never did. It pisses me off. But, yeah, I got a whole slew of review videos to do. I've been watching some Hunter x Hunter on YouTube. Mostly because, I mean, I like watching anime series, and I try to watch a lot of different things online, but I just needed to take a break from some of the stuff that I was watching. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, hey, Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, let's check this out. I remember watching it subbed on Anime All Day on Pluto, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Alright, this isn't too bad. So then I found the 1999 version. I thought it was 1996, but it's 1999, and it's actually pretty good. I prefer that over the 2011 version, but my favorite part of this series is Greed Island, and the 1999 version half-asses it. And I mean, it half-asses it bad. So, I guess I'm going to have to go with the 2011 version on that one. I'm actually planning to do a review on that, too, because I found out this afternoon that the 2011 version on Anime All Day on Pluto, God, I love that channel, it's sadly up to the Chimera Ant arc, which is near the end of the series. It just started it, so I'm done, because I saw the Cliff Notes version for it, and I know people go, you can't judge something off of the Cliff Notes version. I can. Because if the Cliff Notes version didn't get me psyched for it or interested in it, I don't want it. I don't even want to consider it. So that's where I stand with that. But otherwise, it's been a mundane week. And yeah, so let's jump into the podcast. Let's get this on, because I got to go to sleep yet, because I got to get up at 2:30 tomorrow morning. You know, it's always nice when a mom wants to, honor their child that passes away or dies. And this mother has taken it to what I'd like to say is a really great level. So, this mother's been collecting Shonen Jump for the last 7 years to honor her son who died in Quake. So about 350 volumes of Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine cover a wall in a home in Natori, Migawa. That's in Japan, by the way. Yuko Tano Name romanization not confirmed. This is also from the article, by the way. Is not necessarily a fan of shonen manga herself, but her son Kota was. Tana lost her 13-year-old son in the Great East Japan earthquake disaster, which occurred back in 2011. That was really horrible, by the way. It was March 11th, 2011. I remember finding out about it that morning. I was watching CNN and Headline News because they were claiming that some of them were claiming this massive, wave was headed towards Hawaii. I kind of wanted to see that, but it amounted to diddly squat. Just some rip currents, but it just completely massacred Japan, and I felt so horrible for them. As I kept telling my mom, if I see any donation jars for Japan Aid or something, I'm dropping a 20 in there without even a thought. And I was dirt ass poor back then, worse than I am now. It's I'll just drop it right in. But every week, though, for 7 years and 3 months since then, the 49-year-old mother has continued to buy Shonen Jump for her son. And this is really touching, because this definitely shows that a parent will always, want their children to be happy, even if the children aren't alive anymore. So, the body of Kota was found at the end of March 2011. Before his death, Kota used his pocket money to buy Shonen Jump every week. And he read it in his room with friends, and that's always something fun. I never had any friends come over so we could read comics together. I was finally in 8th grade when I got my best friend, so that should say something. And every time when I was in high school, I went to his place because, my grandparents did not want people coming over. So that was the big thing. So Tano thought Kota might be interested in the continuation of the stories. At least they didn't go digital over there. That's a good sign. Copies of the magazine were placed in the boy's coffin and in the household altar. After the disaster, previous issues of the magazine piled up inside the closet of Tano's temporary housing as she bought each new issue. Before the earthquake and tsunami disaster, Tano threw away some of Kota's old manga. She wondered if her son actually wanted to reread the manga so she could no longer throw them out. You never know. Japan is kind of strange when it comes to the afterlife. There are some that do think that the spirit does wander among them yet for keeping watch over them, making sure that they're safe and everything else after they've passed on. So you never know. He might want to come back and reread it during the night, which, that'd be pretty cool. It's okay, I'm on watch patrol, make sure my mom's alright as I'm, in the spirit world. Hey, I didn't know that they got to this chapter. Oh, this is cool. That's, it's truthful. There are people here in the U.S. that do the same thing. I remember reading a story a long time ago where this widower, his wife, watched television every night with him. So when it came to the point where he had to start, he was falling asleep early, he had his grandkids fix something up on the TV that it would shut off at a certain time. They fixed up a timer on it because it was a newer TV. And not only did it shut off, but it shut off the power to the surge protector. And he just sat there. If he fell asleep, he goes, I'm keeping it on for your grandma. She's sitting in that chair right there. She's watching it with me. So, it does, that does mean a lot to the people of the afterlife. Every Monday, though, if the new issue is sold out at a co-op store, Tano goes to a convenience store or shopping center bookstore. The popular One Piece manga, which serializes in Shonen Jump, began before Kota was born, but it continues even now. Yes, over 800 episodes the anime is, and over a crap ton amount of chapters. Damn. Let's see here. Okay, as a member of his school's volleyball team, Kota may have had an interest in the magazine's Haikyuu or Haikyuu manga. I can never pronounce that one. Which launched the year after the disaster. Tano's home was finally rebuilt at the end of last month, and a seven mat tatami room on the second floor became Koda's room. In arranging the magazines, Tano discovered that 3 issues were missing, so she ordered the back number issues. The shelves in Koda's room will be full very soon this year. Koda would have turned 20, which is the legal age of adulthood in Japan. Tano is thinking of finishing the collection of Shonen Jump for her son this year. So it's really touching, and I mean that, because in all honesty, this is something that a parent would do. This is something that any parent would do. I mean, there even people that are like friends would probably do something like this. This is honestly something that they would do, and it's really very touching. I mean, it honestly is. I mean, his life was cut really short because of the disaster. So many people lost not only their homes, a lot lost their lives. That was a dark, dark day in Japan, and believe me, every time I see video of it, my heart just, it goes out to him. It really does, because that is just, it's horrific watching it. It's almost as if you're standing right there with them, just watching everything that they worked for their entire lives, everything that they had just get washed away in an instant. And it's just honestly horrible to even think about. But this is actually something very touching that's come out of it, even all these years later. The fact that this mom has taken it upon herself to complete a collection of Shonen Jump for her son. This is honestly a fitting tribute. I mean that. This is very, very touching. So my hat's off to you, Tano. My hat is off to you. I'm sure your son Koda would love this. He probably is. He's probably looking down. He's probably coming back at night to read these, knowing that you're taking the time and effort to get these for him. I mean that. So somehow, some way, I know he's feeling touched by this, and honestly, it's just really cool what you've done. Kudos. I really mean that. Alright, switching gears now. What are 2 things you never want to hear in the same sentence? Well, if you watched the recent episode of LGR reviews, it's definitely not Barbie saying the name Clint. That was hilarious. Seriously, got to check that out. Lazy Game Reviewers, LGR. That's a great channel. I think I did a review on it. If not, I'm planning on it. That's another one I can add to my list. But, to answer my question, let's go with this. The 2 words you never want to hear in the same sentence are kids movie and boner. And this is the subject of this topic. So, a New York film critic, which, let's face it, film critics have a hard enough job as it is. They have to see a movie, they have to give their thoughts and opinions on it, they have to deal with all the hate that they're going to get from people who are going to go, well, this is a good movie, how dare you slander it, when in all honesty, they're just doing their job. And with this movie, I mean, I haven't seen the second Incredibles movie. I want to stress that right off the bat. I've seen the trailers for it. I have seen clips for it. I have not seen the movie itself. So that's what I'm going to start this off with. So the article was talking about it. So it's like, if you've seen The Incredibles 2, if you like the 2004's Incredibles, which is, by the way, 14 years it took them to make a sequel. That's actually really impressive that the fan base held on that long. It's about a family of superheroes, mid-century modern family, alternate universe of America. Yeah, that fun stuff. Basically, superheroes are illegal because they try pushing their thoughts and beliefs on everybody, as seen when Mr. Incredible saves a man who wanted to kill himself, and instead of being praised for, hey, you saved the guy's life, he's sued because the guy wanted to die and he interrupted that suicide attempt. Yeah, that's really great. So I guess in this world they would have to stop the cops at the same time for trying to stop him too. I mean, that's sort of what they're going for here, only in this case, it's, because you have superpowers, we're just going to sue you now. In the original movie, it started an entire downward spiral for all the superheroes, because not only in the same day did Mr. Incredible stop the person from committing suicide, injured them in the process because he had to jump to catch the person and slam through a glass window. He almost got blown up by Bon Voyage, and at the same time, Mr. Incredible had to stop a train that was on a track that got blown up by a Bon Voyage. So, the people from the train sued. Mr. Incredible's legal costs started costing the government a crap ton of cash, and opened up the floodgates for every superhero in the world. So then all of a sudden they're like, either their secret identities become their only identities, or they just disappear forever. That was their choice. So they just blended in with society. Now, a lot of them didn't take too well to it, like Gazer Beam, Mr. Incredible, just to name a few. They didn't take well to the whole, hey, let's jump into this, let's go and be this normal civilian life. They hated it. So the first one went on and on like this. Mr. Incredible ends up getting his mojo back after being secretly recruited for a top secret mission and all that fun stuff. So the sequel comes out. Fans are loving it. And here's where we have our problems. So, fans enjoy it. And as you might expect from a big budget sequel, it's a little less than fresh than the original and bloated in ways both good and bad. And what the critic was jumping down the throat of, besides Mrs. Incredible, or Elastigirl, well, both, because she's the same person, you have what they're saying with overly, developed characters. And this honestly just brings up, in my mind, an article that I read years ago about there was a mom that was complaining that her children shouldn't have to see these action figures in the aisles because they were overly muscular, overly busty, they weren't anatomically correct, they were way out of proportion, they shouldn't look like that, and this is kind of just bringing that back to my mind. So, we're going through this, and everything, I was reading this, and it's interesting, but at the same time, it's a bit confusing. So, it makes you laugh, it makes you gasp. Once or twice, it might make you burst out in spontaneous applause. And at the least, in the case of the New York Film Critic, and I'm going to omit your name. I mean, the internet knows who you are by now, but I don't want my fans to know who you are, because I have some respect for my fans. I don't want them to just go, complain about it. If they want to look it up, more power to them. They have the ability to Google search stuff, but I'm not going to say your name here. I'll just call you AL. Okay? There. That's all I'm going to call you. And no, the name is not Al. Just want to stress that. I'm just going to use an abbreviation. So AL is the film critic who says it makes you want to do Elastigirl so bad that you have to ice down pretty much your crotch right there in your seat with your bucket, with your soda, and basically not do anything for the rest of the movie. And this is why this disturbs me. Now, this is wrong in so many ways, first off, because this is a kid's movie. Yes, there's got to be something for parents when you go to this. Let's face it, no kid movie in the world is ever going to grab a parent's attention. All that is literally going to be is a chance for parents to go there and see what their kids are watching and just hope that it keeps them entertained long enough and enthralled long enough to not ask them questions for like the next 2 hours. That's what it is. And that 2 hours is just enough time for the parent to get a nap. So you have that. As any rule, any marriage in which one partner can willingly cry out to the other, trampoline me, inspires only envy and awe. Apparently that was one of the lines for The Incredibles 2. Because Mr. Incredible says that to Mrs. Incredible, and he's disappointed to report the action in question is merely a manic pursuit of a giant drill that is whirling through a crowded city, demolishing everything in its path. By the way, spoilers! If you haven't figured it out yet, this guy actually put out stuff about the movie in this. Go figure. Yeah, don't you love critics? So you have a whole bunch of stuff, and this wasn't entirely, completely out of the blue either, because they did this in the original one. There was a scene implied in the original Incredibles where Mr. Incredible, after getting his groove back, gets stopped by Mrs. Incredible on his way out the door, and it's implied that they're, doing the horizontal polka, the horizontal cha-cha, the vertical cha-cha. It's implied that they're doing that. Basically, what they did to create Violet Dash and Jack Jack. It's implied that that's what they're doing. So, it's not entirely thrown out in the woodwork. I mean, there was even a scene in the first one, and anyone that's ever seen the first one will know what scene I'm talking about, in Syndrome's base, where Mrs. Incredible takes a look at herself in the mirror and just kind of goes, it's just kind of like, exhales, flipping her hair with her breath as she's, looking at herself in the reflection. That was literally just a shot for the parents. Let's face it. That's honestly what it was. No movie has ever gotten away with it like this, but it's dumbed down for the fact that you could easily say she's been out of the game for, I'm assuming Violet's 16, 17, I want to say, give or take. So you figure at least 16, 17 years plus she's been out of the game. Yeah, I'm going to be generous and just go with a nice even 20. I know Violet isn't 20, but I'm going to go with a nice 20 here because I'm assuming that they were probably married for a good 3 years before they decided to have kids. So they've been out of the game for a good, I want to say, almost 2 decades. Of course, she's going to look at herself in the reflection and go, yeah, I really don't like the way the suit looks. And that's what I thought, and I'm going to be honest, that's what I thought the scene was at first. She's just finally seeing herself in the super suit, and she's not exactly thrilled with the way it looks. Unbeknownst to me, though, as people have dirty minds, it was misconstrued in other ways. So, I'm not going to say the whole thing for the article of what the person said, mostly because it creeps me the crap out. It really does. It creeps me the hell out. There are some good parts in the movie, like Mr. Incredible trying to figure out algebra, because with that whole new math thing, you have the whole Helen and Evelyn unwinding with simple talk. You have the one line in there that was said by Edna when she goes that parenting, if done correctly, is a heroic act. So on and so forth. So there are some good points in the movie, and not everything that this critic said should be taken to heart. This should honestly be taken with a cup of salt, just to help drown out the taste of it in your mouth. And no, that's not a pun or a joke, and no, it was not intended to come out that way either. So, it goes in here to say, though, that if you take your seat in the early evening screenings of Incredibles 2 in the coming days, you listen carefully, and you may just hear a shifty sound as of parents squirming awkwardly beside their enraptured offspring. And why? And why, kids? Because Mommy just leaned over to Daddy and whispered, "Is it just me, or does Mrs. Incredible kind of look like Anastasia?" Yeah, that's the part that kind of freaks me out. I never saw Anastasia. My mom said I wouldn't understand that movie, so I didn't see it. But they're saying that she kind of looks like Anastasia in 50 Shades of Grey. A movie that I had no intention to ever see. I know it exists. I know it was based off of a book. And both of those are on my permanent I've never seen this list. So, this just goes on and on and on. The article makes me uncomfortable because this is obviously a critic that either A, really doesn't want people to see a movie, B, takes his job way too seriously, or C, all of the frickin' above. And I'm going to go with C for the win here. So this is uncomfortable for lots of reasons. Of course, one of the reasons that Incredibles 2 is resolutely sexless, even compared to the PG-rated original. Keep in mind, these movies are generated not only by Pixar, but Disney as well, because Disney has, their hands in this in some way, shape, or form. That's why you see Incredibles merchandise and it has a Disney logo. Somewhere on it, it has a Disney logo. Disney Infinity had the Incredibles in its game. So there are times when this stuff is in there. But as when it comes to this, yeah, it's disturbing. So basically, if you want to go see this movie, pick a time early in the morning. Try to get like one of the first showings when there aren't going to be that many people there. Because let's face it, no parents are going to want to drag their kids to the movie at 10 in the morning. They're not used to it. They'll go in the afternoon. Make a day out of it. I preferably like to go early in the morning if I can, like the first or second showing of the day, so that I can get it done and over with, and then still have the rest of the day. But that's just me. But anyway, the basic of this article is that they're saying that because the movie centers on Mrs. Incredible, and that's the whole basis of it. Yes, we understand that. You could see that in the trailers for this, that it centers on her. Yes, there are people that think she's attractive. Yes, it's CG animation. Nobody's going to deny that. I mean, I'm going to come right out and say it. I thought Rapunzel was attractive in Tangled. I honestly did. I kind of liked her. I thought she was cute. So there is that. So the whole concept here is the fact that you have a critic that has basically said, yes, this movie is basically porn for parents, but at the same time, it's entertaining for kids. And that's what creeps me the hell out with this guy. Because that's not something you ever want to say about a kid's movie. Yeah, go see a kid's movie with your kid. While your kid's enthroned in it, you can sit there and basically wonder how it's going to play out in your mind. And it's disturbing to me. Honestly, it's freaking disturbing. I'm not a fan of this critic. In all honesty, this just caught my attention because, yes, I understand now that I'm older. Let me stress that first off. In 2004, I was in middle school. Okay? Literally in middle school when this movie came out. When the first one came out, I was in middle school. So, yes, I don't have... Where's middle school? Yes, I was in middle school when the first one came out. Yes. No? Yes. Yes. Why am I thinking? Yes. Was I? Pretty sure I was in middle school. No, I couldn't have been in middle school. I graduated in 07. Had to have been in high school. I was still in school yet. When it came out. So beyond the shadow of a doubt, I want to stress this, 100% beyond the shadow of a doubt, there is no freaking way that I was going to comprehend, oh, Mrs. Incredible is supposed to be, very attractive. I honestly saw it as, oh, she's just admiring herself in her super suit. And then when you get older, you realize, oh, okay, they snuck that in there. And it's not the first time that a Disney and Pixar movie's ever done that. I mean, come on, there's lists out there on the internet. Dorkly's done one. Half a dozen sites have done one. Where all the little hidden stuff that you never knew happened in Disney and Pixar movies. It's all in there. It's out there. We know it. Whether or not half of them are true, we don't know. But we know it's out there. So this is interesting, but at the same time, it's creepy. So I hope I've tiptoed through this as best as I can. But like I said, you knew that this was going to be centered around Mrs. Incredible. You knew that this was going to be created differently, made slightly better because it's 14 years later since the original came out. So the animation style is going to be a little different. The shading, the design, everything. I apologize if you're hearing any explosions. I guess somebody's shooting off some fireworks. Love that in my neighborhood. But anyway, that's what I got for this. So go check it out. I've heard The Incredibles 2 is a good movie. It really is. I enjoyed the first one. Go check out the sequel. I heard it's really good. Okay, so Google's starting to get a little clingy and a little attachy. And I'm really not up for that. So Google's AI can now predict when you will die. That's great! So they're training their new artificial intelligence computer to predict whether hospital patients will die 24 hours after admission. I guess they probably sent him a text message. You have 5 minutes left to live. Thank you for using Google Artificial Intelligence. We appreciate how much you took the time. For your last 5 minutes of life, please fill out this survey telling us how wonderful you thought our service was to you. I would throw my phone against the wall. The accuracy so far of the initial trials is at 95%. Well, no shit, Sherlocks. But how could it know that? The system uses basic data such as the patient's age, ethnicity, and gender. A new algorithm then uses information like patient's vitals, medical history, and even PDFs, charts, and handwritten notes from doctors to make its predictions. Keep in mind, predictions. I mean, this is honestly, I can look at somebody and go, okay, you're going to have about maybe 6 days. You got about 6 hours. Have a quarter. You're not going to live past 5 minutes. I could do that too, but keep in mind, I'm not a supercomputer, and it's just a prediction. Nobody knows when they're going to go. There was a site, and I think it's still up yet, called Death Clock, where it gives you like fun little things. You know what? Here, I'm actually online. Let me see if it's still up yet. Where's my mouse? Okay. I can't find my mouse half the time. Let me see if that site's still up yet quick while I talk about this. So I just find that interesting that, oh yeah, you know, you're going to have the whole, Google can now tell you when you're going to, you know, die. That's just wonderful. So Google's now going to try to tell me how I'm going to die. Well, I doubt highly that's going to work. Okay, yeah, Death Clock is still operational. Okay, it's called deathclock.com. What it basically is, and I'm just going to do this for fun. So let's, I'm just going to do mine here for fun. So date of birth is the 18th of August in 1989. I'm male. Got here mode, normal, pessimistic, sadistic, optimistic. I'm going to go with pessimistic. Let's see, BMI. I know mine's kind of on the high side, so I'm just going to go with the higher end. Non-smoker, and check my death clock. Okay, so according to deathclock.com, I have approximately 623,731,180 seconds to live. Apparently my presumed day of death is Tuesday, March 30th, 2038. That's funny. But keep in mind, this also changes depending on a lot of things, like your body mass index, your mode, whether or not you're a smoker or not. All of that changes. Now, I can also make it a little better here, because it does have like a height thing here. Yeah. So, let me change the height here. So, I'm 6'2". I'm like 6'2", 6'3". And according to the fun little scale thing we did, I kind of know my weight. Let's see if it's on here. Probably not, knowing my luck. If it is, I'm really going to be scared. If my weight is on here, I'm really going to be terrified. Okay, it's not, but I'm just going to throw that out. Okay, yeah, okay. So I still had it right. I took it up to the max it had, because I know my weight, but it's not on here. I am a lot of muscle, so there is that. So, yeah, so I got roughly a good, I want to say, less than 20 years to go. Cool! I'll be 48 when I finally kick the bucket. At least presumably. Well, keep in mind that does change. Nothing's ever concrete. Nothing's ever written in stone. But it's still interesting. So Google, though, your whole thing, it just creeps me out. The technology, though, can also predict the number of days a patient will be in the hospital or the chances of being readmitted. It's simple to tell you the number of days you're going to be in the hospital because they can either ballpark that or they can pretty much give you a straight up, accurate almost answer now without having Google. When my grandfather went to the hospital, they honestly said it was going to be about 3 to 4 days, and he was in for a good 4 days. The first day he was really out of it. The second day he was more coherent. Come day 3, he was pretty much back. And by day 4, they discharged him to go over to rehab. So he was in for 4 days. So it's not too bad. A friend of ours went into the hospital. He was in for, I think it was like 2 weeks. And they said it was going to be a long thing. But then again, he also had problems with the anesthetic and a few other things. So all of that did affect his amount of time in there. And there is stuff like that happens. So this isn't a foolproof system, Google. That's what bothers the crap out of me. This is not a foolproof system. I really hate the fact that they're doing fireworks tonight. I do apologize again if you're still hearing the fireworks going on. It's lovely. Bastards. So if you're in the mood for a Google AI to predict when you're gonna die, get ready to probably have that when you go to a hospital in the near future. If not, I recommend deathclock.com. It's fun, it's a nice little gimmick, and in all honesty, you can probably find out that you should have already croaked it. Now it's like, yep, I'm good. I should have been dead a long time ago, but I'm not, because it's all for fun at this point. But Google's thing, I can see its functionality, but it's still just humorous to me at this point that Google wants to tell me when I'm going to die. So I'm expecting that text message, Google. I'll laugh at that. I really will. So, this little bit of information dropped last week, and I did a rant video on it because it pissed me off. It annoyed me enough to do a rant video. Pop Team Epic is coming to Adult Swim, and it's going to be on Toonami starting June 30th. It's going to make its midnight debut. It's going to be sandwiched right between Fooly Cooly Progressive and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. I'm not a big fan of Pop Team Epic. Every time I think about it, I feel my brain start to melt and turn Swiss cheese. Especially every time I think of Let's Pop Together, I imagine the puddle of drool on my desk. And it's honestly not a good thing. I understand Adult Swim's concept. Now, they're doing this because they want to try to get Toonami away from the action-oriented shows that they've had. And in all honesty, for the longest time, that was Toonami's main deal. They did a lot of action shows. That was their entire shtick when they originally started. It was, you have the whole concept of, hey, these are old Hanna-Barbera cartoons that we're showing here for like a good 2-3 hours. Check them out. They were like the Herculoids, Thunder the Barbarian, Space Ghost, Birdman, stuff like that. Then they started getting Johnny Quest, Reboot. When they started breaking into the anime line, it was with Sailor Moon, Gundam Wing, Dragon Ball Z. And it just picked up from there. They got One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, Duel Masters, and the list goes on. They had these for the longest time. It was the formula that worked, and then Cartoon Network decided, hey, we don't want the formula to work anymore. We're letting you go. And they canceled the show, and then they brought it back after the fans were like, yeah, we want it back. So, bringing this on, while yes, I understand the concept of you're trying to get more views, keep in mind, as I've said multiple times with this, it's on late at night. It's a lineup literally from 10:30 at night to 3:30 in the morning. And what's odd about this is the fact that while, yes, it is strange, you have to realize that people are sleeping during this time. They're DVRing this crap. And it just hurts so much. I mean, they could have picked any other show, though, if they wanted to go this route. They could have did Mr. Otsumatsu if they wanted to do something that was, stupid funny. If they wanted slice of life, they could have picked Kashimashi. Oh God, Eyes. They could have done. Oh God, They could have done Bakuman. Just to name a few, they could have done. And this isn't the first time that they've ever done something like this. I mean, we've had the couple strange entities of shows that weren't exactly action-oriented. Toonami did have the Prince of Tennis on. They could have done Hikaru no Go. Effectively, I think they had like a couple episodes of that on for like maybe a week, and I think they took it off. I don't remember. Then again, I mostly just bought those on DVD, and I actually want to get that whole series again. That was really cool. I just have like the individual volumes. I like to get the whole, either finish getting the individual volumes, get the couple that I'm missing, or just re-get the whole thing like one complete set. I don't know which. But so yeah, there is that. But if they wanted to go this route, I understand it. It still pisses me off. And to each their own with this. I mean, you might think the show is great, and that's fine. There are shows that I didn't like. There are shows that I like that others hate. I like Sword Art Online, and people hate it. I honestly, when I first started watching anime, at the time I didn't know it was anime, I did not like Dragon Ball Z, and I grew to love it. In fact, it became one of my favorite shows. The one thing I'm lacking is a decent Goku figure, which I will hopefully remedy someday. But honestly, it's not that bad when you sit down to it, but this is just not a show that I can sit down and watch. It repeats itself, it's repetitive, it's idiotic, it's stupid, and it's my opinion of it that I don't like it. Now, you don't have to listen to my opinion. You can listen to it, you can watch it yourself, that's fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch it, to each their own. But this is honestly a move that I feel is going to hurt more than help. This is a double-edged sword in this case. Whereas, it's either going to do extremely well and bolster Toonami up to higher heights and give them the idea of, okay, we should try to add in some of these, non-action genre shows, or this is going to backfire so badly that they're not going to even want to attempt this again. And if that happens, yeah, we're looking at a massive screw you to the fans. But anyway, starting next week on Toonami, next Saturday night, this is going to be the lineup. Kicking off the night at 10:30, you got Dragon Ball Super. My Hero Academia comes in at 11 with Fully Cooley Progressive rounding out Saturday night at 11:30 p.m. 12:30 a.m. starts Pop Team Epic, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Stardust Chronicles comes in at 12:30. 1 a.m. has Hunter x Hunter bashing its way to the top, while Black Clover swoops in at 1:30. Naruto Shippuden is busting out those sweet ninjutsu jutsus with Space Dandy bringing us into some nostalgic 80s cheese when it comes on at 2:30. And I mean 80s because it's really idiotic like the 80s. Oh, some of the stuff. Cowboy Bebop comes on at 3 a.m., bringing us back to a gooder and a more better version of nostalgia where we can come out of that Velveeta pool smelling like gold, with Lupin the Third rounding out the entire night at 3:30 a.m. Because it's Toonami, only on Adult Swim. And I would really not be against doing that professionally. But anyway, I'm just not a fan that they wanted to do this for their initial show that they want to bring. That's fine, that's dandy, I don't care, but still, it bugs me. I know I don't care too much about it. I mean, I don't watch Toonami, I don't have cable, but still, it hurts, the fact that they're doing this. And despite what anybody says, this Cartoon Network is responsible for this because the person that's in charge of Cartoon Network is also in charge of Adult Swim and Boomerang. So it's all the same person until she gets kicked out or she leaves, whichever comes first. Then it'll be whoever they assign. But as of right now, because Adult Swim is Cartoon Network, Cartoon Network does have to cut the checks for this. So it's basically, we want this. They say yes, here's your money. Yes, we're good. They have to abide by what the bank says. And the bank being Cartoon Network. If they say, no, we don't want to force out the cash for this, you know they're not going to get it. Because, I mean, look at all the licenses that they let expire because they didn't want to even bother trying to get them back again. Symbiotic Titan, Inuyasha. While they could have tried to renew the licenses, it also runs into the fact of, okay, well, is it worth the chance to bring them back? People have seen them half a dozen times. They don't really bolster the ratings. Yeah, we're not going to renew the license for it. It's done on our network. And that's fine. They don't have the rights to air it anymore because they don't have the license for it. But it also doesn't mean at the same time that going this direction is a good idea. Because, like I said, it's a double-edged sword that could come back to haunt them. But, I don't know. Only time will tell, I guess. Okay, so what was your gateway anime? What was the show that got you into the entire anime genre to begin with? And in all honesty, for me, for years, I thought it was Sailor Moon. Or Dragon Ball Z. But then I found out that Samurai Pizza Cats was actually an anime series. I remember Samurai Pizza Cats. Speedy Cerise, Guido Anchovy, and Little Polly. I remember those. The Three Cats. Well, that was a good show. But anyway, your gateway anime. So Japanese fans have been sounding off, and it's a question that echoes throughout message boards, in convention halls, and around the world. What anime got you into anime? And it's actually a good question for any of my fans out there. I want to know what anime got you into the anime scene. If you don't watch anime, that's fine. Don't have to answer. Just put none. I'll be happy with that. I mostly just want to know how many people I have listening to my podcast at this point. Yeah. But a recent thread on a popular Japanese site for all things geek, Otakomu. It's O-T-A-K-K-O... That's O-T-A-K-O-M-U. My apologies. Asked just that question. And the variety of responses across genres and generations was pretty fascinating. The original poster went for a classic 1995's Neon Genesis Evangelion, but many of the follow-up posts were from a younger generation of titles. Most frequently cited was the Mecha Holy of Haruhi Shizumiya. Oh, that's a beautiful series. It really is. That's one that Toonami could have gotten. That's not an action one. That's a slice of life slapstick comedy thing, which often led itself to an interest in other series by Kyoto Animation. Titles from this decade that made the list include Grand Blue Fantasy, Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron-Blooded Orphans, and Dragon Ball Super. Hey! Dragon Ball will always reign supreme, so long as we forget the fact that GT ever existed. That did not exist in any way, shape, or form. Old school titles given a shout out included Ranma Half, that was a good series, Fist of the North Star, and City Hunter. I actually remember hearing about City Hunter, but I had never seen it. Interestingly, though, the posters specified they saw these series through reruns, not when they were first aired on TV. So, yeah, I mean, come on. Half of those probably came out like the early 80s, late 70s. It's honestly, they're probably not going to have seen those when they first debuted. They're probably going to have seen the syndicated reruns. Old school, I did that. The moderator noted, Haruhi may have become so many people's first anime because it was shown on Nico Nico Douga, the popular Japanese streaming site. Wow, I didn't know there was that. I didn't know it was still going yet. Huh. So it's your turn. This is from Otaku USA, by the way. So, USAers. What was your gateway anime, and how did you find it in the first place? Well, the first ever anime I saw, I find out years later that it was anime, was technically Samurai Pizza Cats. But if we're going to go with anime in general, the first one that I ever saw was probably going to be Dragon Ball Z or Sailor Moon. That probably got me hooked on it, because that's when I thought, oh, cool, cartoons have gotten really better. Then when I found out they were anime, I'm like, what's anime? Okay, yep, okay, I'm in heaven now. This is my new home. Just leave me here. I'll just want to stay here for a little while. So, yeah. But anyway, I mean, I like anime. And Sailor Moon, I always had a crush on Sailor Jupiter. Everybody out there knows that. Dragon Ball Z, I hated it at first, and then I grew to like it. So, yeah. I mean, they were gateways for me. I mean, if it's an exact one that they want, probably would have been Gundam. But honestly, it's probably Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball Z, because those were the two that I remember watching a lot on Toonami when they started doing the anime stuff. I did remember watching Samurai Pizza Cats, and I still love that show. Samurai Pizza Cat. God, I love that show. So anyway, like I said, let me know out there what your gateway anime series was. I'm kind of interested. Was it the Mecha Holy of Haruhi Shizumiya? Or was it something else? Are you an old school otaku? Or are you a new school otaku? Let me know in the comment section below. No, seriously, I actually do want to know. Alrighty, so Yu Yu Hakusho is still celebrating their massive 25th anniversary. And one of the big things, besides that OVA we're getting about Hiei and Kurama, the 55th episode is going to be getting some audio commentary. Now, I'm all for audio commentary. I don't mind it. I've seen a few movies with it. By the way, it's a good way to really tell when you've watched a movie so many times you're willing to watch it with commentary just to drown out the boredom with something new. And I've done it a few times, and yeah, you learn a lot. Trust me. So the celebration's continuing, though, for the 25th anniversary. An aspect of the anniversary project includes the rebroadcast of various Dark Tournament Saga episodes on Japanese TV, and one of them will even feature audio commentary from the cast. So it's episode 55, The Beast Within, set to air on Tokyo MX on August 20th, with a newly recorded commentary. Cast members participating are going to be including the voice of Kurama, the voice of Karasu, and the voice of Yoko Kurama. So you got Megami Ogata, who did Kurama, Ryo Horakawa, who does Karasu, and Shigeru Nakahara, who did Yoko Kurama. So while we're on the topic of the great openings, the latest promo for the 25th anniversary Blu-ray set features the anime's catchy theme song for its opening, which is fine. I mean, I liked it, but yeah, so it's not bad. So the Blu-ray's coming out. You're gonna get 25th anniversary commentary for episode 55. All of this because it's 25 years, and I'd rather just see a continuation of the series. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a really nice thing that you're doing. I'm all for it, 100%. Kudos to you. I love it. I would rather just have a continuation of the series. Give us the next generation already. I want to see Yusuke Keiko's kid fighting crime as a makeshift spirit detective or spirit investigator. Come on. Why can't we have that? Seriously. Alrighty. How many of you out there that listen to anime or listen to any theme song for an opening to a TV show or movie and you start humming along? I mean, how many of us have not ever hummed along to the tune from the Karate Kid, You're the Best? Or even just the, nice music that's been playing along. That. Well, if you're in the mood to sing along and you're a fan of Neon Genesis Evangelion, good news, because the theme song has an HD music video. So, who's in the mood for some 90s nostalgia? Let's bust out that Velveeta pool, grab your swim trunks, and let's go for a dive, because I'm ready to swim in some Velveeta again. Okay, that would be kind of creepy. So if you have fond memories of Ganex's Neon Genesis Evangelion, you'll want to dive right into the HD version music video of its opening theme song, A Cruel Angel's Thesis, which, by the way, is one of the greatest theme songs ever. I mean, my God, not only does it pump you up for what's happening, you don't even have to listen to it for the show. You can just have it as an MP3 file, and it just makes a great MP3 file. You don't even have to sit there. It's like, this is just kick-ass. It's upbeat. You could literally be playing a video game, listening to that in the background, and probably do really well, because it's just that upbeat. So this isn't just some fan-made AMV either, though. This was uploaded to YouTube on the official King Records channel. That's right. Yoko Takahashi's iconic theme song is considered by many to be one of the greatest anime openings of all time, and for good reason. Jam it below, along with some footage from thing. So I'm looking at this from the Otaku USA magazine thing, and it's kind of cool. I'll leave a link in the description if I forget. I will try my best not to forget. I'll leave a link in the description for this. I'll leave myself a note when I save the thing to put link in description. So you can check it out. It is pretty cool. It's kick-ass. I like it. So yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say. It is one of the best anime openings ever. I mean, I do like Dragon Ball's opening. Not a fan of Dragon Ball Z's opening. GT, like I said, can blow. Dragon Soul from Kai can suck it. And I like some of the openings for Super, but I really like the ending Boogie Back that we had for Dragon Ball Super. That was really cool. The one that pays homage to Bulma, remembering her time with Goku and Krillin, which, now that you think about it, with everything that happened with the voice actress for Bulma, the original one, it's just really sad, because it's almost like a foreshadowing. I don't think they intended it to be that. But that's really sad to get to even just remember that. It's like, oh crap, it really does. But yeah, I mean, there are anime series that have remarkable openings. There are some that I remember. Getter Robo's second opening, Heats, the opening to Go Danner, the opening to what the hell was it? Oh, the opening to Bakuman, Blue Days, or Bluebird, I should say. Some of the Bleach openings, a couple of the Naruto openings. How many others do I know? So freaking many. There's just so many that I know. But yeah, so it's kind of cool that they're doing this. It's an official video, so it's not a fan-made OVA. It's not one that might possibly get yanked down because of copyright claims. This is an official one, 100% licensed. So this is cool. So if you want to check it out, check out the link in the description below. I will leave a link to the article so you can check that out. So yeah, that seems pretty freaking sweet. It really does. Alrighty, folks, that's pretty much going to do it this week for the absolutely, completely random podcast. Yep, I know it's been one of those weeks, too. I mean, I think I'm actually under an hour again. How did I manage to do that? Either the topics suck, or I talk too fast. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. I mean, if I talk too fast, let me know so I can correct that. But anyway, if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, feel free to drop them on the podcast email. It's acrpodcast@gmail.com. It's all lowercase, by the way. You can also drop them off or plop them up to me on Twitter, either via message or just as a tweet to OTAKURHOADS on Twitter. So that's at OtakuRoads on Twitter. You can also send them to my Facebook page that I have set up for the podcast and my YouTube channel, the Web Designer 18 Facebook page. Links to both, by the way, are in my About Me section. There is that. And I would say put them on the discussion page, but I've been reading somewhere that that's apparently going away, which is great because I did a video earlier this week because the podcast anniversary is coming up in September. We all know this. It's coming rapidly. And I decided to give you, the fans, a gift this time around. Not just a gift for the podcast, but a gift for you, my loyal fans, the ones that have been listening to me rant and rave, listening to me review stuff, and listening and tuning into the podcast each week. I decided to give you something that nobody else could possibly ever give you. And what is that? You get to basically have an interview with me. I'm having a Q&A video, a special Q&A video for the 2-year anniversary of the podcast, where you, the fans, can ask me any questions that you want, so long as they are not political or religious. I have the complete rules in the video special announcement. Yeah, so check out that video. I posted it up on Thursday. So check out that video and let me know what your questions are. I will try to make sure that all the questions are put up and fixed up so the video can go up alongside with the podcast for the first Sunday in September. That being said, all entries for questions must be submitted by August 18th. So in other words, you have to have all your questions in by my birthday. After that, I can't take any more questions. This way I can double check and make sure that I can combine all the multiple questions that are the same into one question, and so on and so forth. That way I can go through, figure out which questions are what, and everything else. Now, keep in mind, if I don't get like a huge response for questions, I'll probably just throw it in as a special part of the podcast. And if that happens, I'll make an announcement about it so you don't feel bummed out or anything. I mean, I could just still do a video, it'd just be really, really short, and it's not really that much of an interview then. So if you have questions, let me know. Why not? So that's going to pretty much do it. Like I said, this week, I am Andrew Rhodes. I am tired. I have got to go to bed because I got to get up at 2:30 so I can get to work by 5. And until next week, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the Absolutely, Completely Random Podcast. Bye, everybody.